Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Liverpool Africa Fan to Fan channel. We're gonna be looking at any matters relating to Liverpool from an African's perspective. Obviously, we've got a game coming up tomorrow, Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Quite a tricky game, but a game that I'm looking forward to. I'm pumped. But before I continue, please do smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and share it with your mates. Now to get into the game at hand. Obviously, it's first versus eighth. Sheffield United. Just to speak briefly about them, they've been really impressive this season. Straight from the championship where they did really well. They came into the big boys, as the Premier League is called, and I think that name is well deserved. They've come in, they've made such a huge impression. Up until the Man City game, which they held, they were unbeaten away from home for quite a long stretch of games, which is impressive for a team of their caliber. With all due respect to them, because they've come up from the championship. Everyone perhaps expected them to not be so dominant. I mean, they've been in the top six for most of the season now. I mean, we're halfway through the season, so I think they're a really good team, and yeah, I mean, obviously they are facing a very positive Liverpool side, a Liverpool side that's sweeping each and every challenge out of the way. But I'll be lying to say that Liverpool has had it easy up until now. A few games that we've had, from the 19 that we've played, they've been a bit touch and go sometimes, and games that come to mind are the Leicester game where we won it late thanks to Mane earning us that penalty, which was a penalty, by the way. Mane didn't dive. There was clear contact. He was fouled, and that was a penalty. But we'll move on swiftly from that. Obviously, up steps up Mr. Calm, Mr. Ice in his veins, James Milner, with a superb penalty to earn us that crucial win. And I mean, just to, if you can go back to the last time we faced Sheffield, which was at Bramall Lane, they were very good actually. For quite of the game. I mean, it was not a one-sided affair, and I think shame for them. They'd feel a bit hard done that they didn't at least get a point, but up stepped the Manx, Henderson, obviously on loan to Sheffield from Man United, gifted us an absolute fantastic 3 points. Genie with a brilliant volley, and then Henderson, the thrall from Man United, he did the rest to hand us 3 vital points. And he actually got quite a talking to, an earful from his manager, Wilder. So I think that just speaks to the type of team that they are. They don't want to be victims, or they don't shy away, or want to hide from anything. They take challenges on, and they are such a strong team. To play against, to break down. And they've got this formation, a 3-5-2 formation, similar to Liverpool. They use their fullbacks to get into the attack, to get in, to make those attacks available for the likes of Moset up front, who's also been quite decent this season. Obviously, talking about the incoming champions, Liverpool. I mean, it's done. Unbeaten at home this season, played 10, won all 10, unbeaten in the past 50 games at Anfield. It's an absolute fortress. I mean, any team that is, I'm sure teams come to Anfield and they be like, oh my gosh, where are we going to? We're not gonna come out alive. They any team now is dreading the thought of going to Anfield and actually, taking on Liverpool. So the atmosphere is perfect. Liverpool are men. I mean, you look at other teams like Man United, Arsenal, which is, I mean, to be fair to them, they are still very, very big teams, not only in England but in Europe. You know, they've not been doing that well this season. But Liverpool, you know, they just on a planet of their own. I mean, on a planet of their own. As I said, 50 consecutive games unbeaten at Anfield, which is quite insane if you think about it. But yeah, if we can just go look at the possible threats that would come from Sheffield. Obviously, I mentioned that they use the 3-5-2 formation, or rather should I say, where they act as the attacking threat basically. You know, it's a team that is well drilled, very, very resilient. And I think if you look at Chris Wilder and the type of manager he is, you can automatically see that he's got his fingerprint deep in rooted into their style of they play. The players fight for each other. They are so resilient, as I mentioned. Midfield wise, they work very hard. Oliver Norwood, if I would mention one, is something that Liverpool will have to look out for, coming from midfield, and also potentially asking a couple of questions from our midfield and from our defense too. And as I mentioned earlier, Musaid, I mean, what a player he is. You know, he's come to big games. Manchester United, you remember they drew 3-3 all. There he had a big performance, and he had a big second. So those two for me are the two potential threats, players that I think could ask us a couple of questions. And obviously the wing backs, they'll be bombing forward, trying to trouble Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. And if you can remember from our last game which we had, which was against Wolves. Wolves were less bad. I think his name is Vinagre. I think the lad's name is Vinagre. Yeah, on the two occasions he got the better of Trent, and if it was not for poor finishing on their part, those should have been 2 goals. So maybe a potential weakness from Liverpool when Trent bombs forward, and even Robertson. So there's that space that becomes free for teams to exploit. But I think what happens is that when Trent and Robertson they bomb forward, Genie drops to wing back, and also Henderson drops to wing back, and then Fabinho acts as an anchor in that midfield to stabilize things. Obviously, Fabinho is injured, so then Keita would be the one. He'd be knocking balls into small spaces, just making sure that the team ticks by. But yeah, it was quite an interesting game when we faced them at Bramall Lane. Robertson, I think his name is called. Quick. I think he asked our defense a couple of questions, but again, it came down to poor finishing on their part. Otherwise, that game could have ended very, very differently. But I mean, yeah, Sheffield coming to the fortress Anfield. I'm sure they're probably dreading the trip, but they're also at the same time, I'm sure they're excited. I'm sure any player in Europe or even in the world, they'd want to go to Anfield to experience the atmosphere. I mean, just to hear the fans belt out, "You never walk alone, walk on, walk on." Liverpool have been so good this season, and I've got to hand it to Klopp. I mean, what he has done with his coaching staff to this Liverpool team, he's not only made them hard to beat. It's almost like he's given them this brilliant task of not of being unbeatable, but at the same time, it's almost like he goes the extra mile, ensuring that the players don't let it get to their head, don't get too big for their boots. So, Klopp, I mean, him and his coaching staff deserve quite a lot of praise for the way what they've done in terms of the job since he's walked into the club. Obviously, it wasn't instant success, but from the day he walked into to the club, you could see things were changing. The morale, the attitude of the players were changing. He got rid of the players that he thought would not do the job that he wanted. I think from when he came in, there's only one surviving player, and I think it's Adam Lallana, if I'm not mistaken. So he's done a complete overhaul, identified his players. I mean, who comes to mind is Big Virgil van Dijk. He's been absolutely brilliant, robbed of the Ballon d'Or, but I mean, I think he will win it sooner rather than later. So we're not too concerned about that. But yeah, it's an interesting game, potential banana skin, but from the way that Liverpool have managed to ensure that they always win. I mean, Liverpool, they don't we don't accept a draw. We're all about the 3 points. We're all about to win. It's either win or nothing, and that's quite commendable, you have to say. So yeah, it's an interesting game. If I were to make a prediction, Sheffield, as I mentioned, they're a pretty good team, well drilled, very resilient. Liverpool lately, they've not been banging too many goals. So I would say I'd go for a 2-1 win Liverpool. 2-1 win Liverpool. Yeah, I think Sheffield have got a goal in them because of the threat that they have from their fullbacks. Yeah, I think I see a goal, probably almost say scoring in the dying minutes to take away the clean sheet that we have. Obviously, I mean, in the past 4 games we've not conceded, so I'm sure that he'll make the defense and Allison very, very proud, and he'd want to maintain that clean sheet. But I think it will be a 2-1. So yeah, that is my Liverpool versus Sheffield United pre-match preview. Let me know below in the comments what you think the score would be. How do you think Sheffield United will approach the game? And if possibly an upset is on the card. But please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And then, yeah, I mean, we'll speak soon again. Cheers.